going on.
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. I'm Mike Babcock with my guy, as always, Mojo Mutati. Mojo, we're going to start with the Oklahoma City Thunder stamping their ticket to the NBA Finals. And it wasn't a very close game, Mojo. The Oklahoma City Thunder with a 124-94 victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Look, they were tested in the last series, Mojo, against the Nuggets. The Nuggets, of course, with Nikola Jokic, took them 7 games. But the Thunder were the team that most NBA fans, most NBA experts expected would ultimately make the finals. They were one of, if not the best teams in the entire league all year. They had the best record in the Western Conference. And, of course, they now, after 5 games, are headed to the NBA Finals. Now, Mojo, after the game, of course, as the team was being given trophies and doing on-court interviews, Mojo, their head coach, a guy by the name of Mark Daigneault, took a little bit of a shot at his players who had a little bit of fun at coach's expense.
These guys are uncommon. You know, they do everything right. They're professional. They're high character. They're idiots. They're competitive. And most of all, they're team first. They embody everything it means to be a team.
So there was Mojo. You see all the guys, including Chet Holmgren, putting towel after towel after towel on the young head coach. He's obviously having fun. He loves these guys. And it's been a heck of a year for them, and they hope to win an NBA title. Few more games. 4 wins away, Mojo.
He's coaching a team of competitive idiots, Babcock. That's what they are.
Reminds me of the Boston Red Sox, who used to also go by that moniker. Lived up to it, too. Yeah.
Hey, man, you put a beating on Minnesota like they just did. You can put 40 more towels on the coach, a couple more hats, mess up his interviews. You do what you want because that was a thrashing, a butt whipping. And you just love to see that relationship with the coach and the players. Everyone's having a good time. He gave them their moment. Paused his interview for them to have their fun. And that's what you want to see. It's a give and take. It's a team game, and it's a team effort here. I hope we get more antics like this in the finals, the next round, because I feel like we're just getting started with this. He said it. He's a young coach.
That's exactly right. And he's got a young, super talented team outside of Shea, who was obviously the NBA's MVP. But they've got a lot of really good players. They are deep. And again, they are going to be favorites to win an NBA championship this year. Now, Mojo, you mentioned the Minnesota Timberwolves. This game last night, Mojo, was not close. In fact, the final score doesn't really even do it justice because at times this game was about as lopsided as an NBA playoff game could ever get. But the bottom line is the Timberwolves, they've also got a good team, Mojo, and a couple of bounces of the ball here and there, and this could definitely have been a different series. Well, they've got Anthony Edwards. He is one of the best young players in the entire NBA. He is a confident guy, and he's a guy who expects to win, Mojo. So when he then met with the media after his team was sent home, he was asked whether or not he was in pain over the loss. Well, Ant-Man's not. He believes that they are going to win, and he's pumped to run it back next season.
It's exciting. I don't know why people would think it would hurt. I mean, it's exciting for me. I'm 23. I get to do it a whole bunch of times. I'm hurt more so for myself, for Mike. I came up short for Mike. Like I said, we tried last year. We couldn't get it. We tried again this year. We're going to try again next year. But hurting is a terrible word to use. I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Mojo, and he's sitting next to Mike Conley. When he says Mike, that's who he's talking about. Mike Conley's been in the NBA forever, since 2007. He's now 37 years old. So, and Edwards might get some other chances at this thing. But, Mike Conley's are running out. And you could feel that he was disappointed for his teammate. The thing I'd say, though, Mojo, to Anthony Edwards is, you can always think you're going to get back, and I wouldn't put it past him because that's how good he is. But these sports, the NBA, other major American sports, are littered with players who thought they would get back and never did.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know, Babcock. I got to say, Ant-Man, I like his attitude here. It's not like he missed the game-winning shot for the championship. He's a young player. He's got a lot left to give. I mean, he's had an incredible season. He's one of the best players on the team. Yeah. You got to think he's going to be back. But they got smoked here, Babcock. They lost, 4-1, and they were down as much as just under 40 points at one point this game. Yeah. There is very little more that he could have done to actually make a difference in this game. I mean, he would have had to added another, 31 points to what he already put up in order to be a difference maker here. For me, it was always, those blowout games. Those are the ones it's like, all right, we didn't have it. It's easy to move on from. It's those buzzer beaters you lose by. Those are the ones you go home and you rack your brain off. If I would have made that one shot, if I would have had that one block, whatever it is. Those are the ones that always was a little bit more difficult for me to swallow when I was playing. But, Ant, 23 years old, you've got to think he's going to make it at least this far again in his career.
Mojo, the New York Yankees out here on the West Coast in Anaheim to play the Angels. The Yankees get the win in what was a pitching duel. Yanks win 1-0. Mojo, it's not the game that a lot of baseball fans are talking about, though. What they're really talking about is a Yanks fan who learned the hard way that you should not run on the baseball field during a Major League Baseball game. So, he took a little bit of a beating, Mojo, and he gets led off the baseball field with his hands behind his back. Not how he meant to or wanted to leave the field last night, Mojo. Pretty nice moves, though.
He knew that was coming.
Yeah. He's pretty fast. Look at that. Whoop. Look at that.
Well, that's what I want to get into. I don't really want to talk about this guy right now. We've seen these guys run on the fields, and some of them have had some sensational performances. I want to know what the job application process looks like for the security guards, especially in baseball. That's a lot of open field. That's a lot of ground to cover. I mean, where are they hiring these people from? I mean, if they were smart, they'd be going out there and getting former athletes, maybe some former safeties or DBs from the NFL, guys that can cover a lot of ground but also know how to tackle. I mean, you could go down the MMA route, but I don't know how much distance those guys are running. I mean, obviously they can handle some ground and pound, so maybe you pair them up with a wide receiver or somebody like that. I don't know. I mean, maybe you could use some outfielders. I just don't know what their tackling skills look like, but I want to know what that job application process looks like, Babcock, because sometimes they have it and sometimes they don't.
Up next, Jake Paul is with us a month ahead of his fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The problem child sets the stage for his toughest test yet when TMZ Sports returns right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Mike Babcock here. We are exactly 1 month away from a massive fight going down in the Los Angeles area, starring this man right here, Jake Paul, taking on a former real deal, legit boxing champion in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We are so lucky to be joined by the problem child right now. Jake, brother, we are literally a month away, man. How are you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling better than ever. This is going to be my breakout performance. It's going to be a tough fight, Someone's going to get embarrassed, and it's not going to be me, but I'm training harder than ever. I know this is my toughest opponent yet. Maybe not the biggest name opponent yet, but it's still going to be a super, super good fight. So make sure everyone pull up Anaheim, California, Ticketmaster.com. Be there, baby.
He's got a ton of fights. He's got, I think, 61 pro fights. think this is the toughest challenge for you if you take everything into consideration?
Yeah, taking everything into consideration and how hard he's training behind the scenes, people saying that this is the most serious he's ever taken a fight, and the fact that he's a former world champion, 30-something knockouts, and I think he wants to put Mexico on his back and represent, and he doesn't want to lose to a guy like me because he knows that's going to hurt his legacy that he's built for himself.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jake, if you see video of him, it looks like he's training hard. I think if there's one criticism, obviously, as you know, of his that people have always said is that, hey, he doesn't train hard, doesn't work as hard as he should, but he's a guy with a lot of talent. But if he is working hard and he does still have that talent, obviously, that could make for a dangerous opponent, couldn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I bring out of my opponents. You know, even when I fly sparring partners in, they go harder than they normally do with other guys because they want to prove a point because it's me. They don't want to get beat up by a guy who's only been doing this for 5 years or so. They always bring their A game, and that's why I'm always at my best as well because I have to bring my A game every time.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you actually get the best of your opponents because whether it's your background or you've not been in the sport that long, people don't want to lose to you, right? And
exactly.
That they work hard.
Yeah, and it's their biggest payday, most of the time. So they're motivated by a lot of things, not losing money, all the hype around it, the press, the media. So everyone always wants to beat me.
How about coming off of the Tyson fight and literally fighting in front of 108 million people? That's the biggest audience ever. How about coming off of what was just a massive event? And obviously this is a little bit of a different setup. It's not on Netflix, but just how about coming off of what was the most watched fight in the history of this sport?
Yeah, it's surreal. It's honestly hilarious to me, but like me and Mike are the two most followed boxers in the sport. So it makes sense. And it was such a surreal moment. I believe there's going to be more massive fights to come on Netflix. So stay tuned for some things there. But yeah, this is my main goal is to become world champion. So doing all the big fights like that is awesome, but my main goal is to become world champion, and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. puts me on a path to that.
Julio said that he was doing this to get some sort of revenge for Mike Tyson. I know you and Mike are cool. There's no bad blood there, and Mike made a ton of money. What do you think when you hear him say that he is doing this for Mike Tyson?
I think he's just a dumb boxer, trying to protect the sport. There's no revenge needed for Mike. It was a successful night, the most watched boxing event ever. Mike made a ton of money, and he did good in the fight. So Chavez is just trying to get fans to get behind him to be like, oh yeah, he's gonna get him for Mike, and it's just gonna completely fail.
Again, it's exactly a month away now. Like Jake said, check out the tickets on Ticketmaster. Come in, brother, if you're in LA and you've got some time before and you want to come and do something, host a show, promote the fight, we'd love to have you in here, Jake.
So I'll be down to pull up. That'd be awesome. It's been long overdue.
Absolutely. Awesome. I cannot wait. Jake, brother, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk soon.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Peace, man.
Coming up, is Caitlin Clark being treated unfairly by her opponents in the WNBA? We'll ask former two-time WNBA MVP Candace Parker that very question when TMZ Sports returns right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports, Mike and Mojo. Mojo, the WNBA season only a couple of weeks in the books, but there has been a ton of controversy. There's been a lot of exciting moments on the basketball court. Of course, there are a lot of really young, promising WNBA stars, but there's also, again, been a lot of controversy. A lot of it has centered around the relationship between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Of course, the former college rivals who are now big-time rivals in the WNBA. Well, Mojo, we spoke with somebody she's not a young star, but she is one of the best women's basketball players of all time. She is a three-time WNBA champion. She is a two-time to be exact, WNBA most valuable player. I'm talking about Candace Parker, player turned great broadcaster, who we ran into this week, Mojo, in Los Angeles. And with all of the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark and some of the other players, we had to ask Candace about how Caitlin was being treated by the rest of the league.
I wanted to ask about Caitlin Clark. She just tied with you on your career triple doubles. I mean, how do you feel having her match you so early in her career?
It's awesome. It's great. I think she has so many more years to come of greatness. So it's been good watching her finish.
I wanted to ask about people being a little physical with Caitlin at that, over last game. Do you feel like she's being treated unfairly, in her games and stuff like that?
I think it's definitely star players aren't ever treated fairly.
Is that kind of what you went through? I mean, because you're considered a legend. I mean, is that just kind of normal about being the rookie? Is that part of it?
I think everybody has a different path.
Well, didn't sound like Candace wanted to talk too much about that, Mojo. It's a third-rail issue. It is a situation, a lot of people think that racism is involved, but it's something that the WNBA is going to have to deal with.
I mean, I feel like the hesitation in her answer was all you needed to know. She clearly had a thought. She clearly had an opinion here, but didn't necessarily want to go down that path at this time. But she brings up a lot of good points, and she's obviously a great person to talk to. If you look up her list of career accomplishments, it's absurdly long. It's ridiculous how many things Candace Parker accomplished in her career. So obviously someone that can relate to this firsthand. But her bringing up the fact that people are going to go after the star player, that's going to be the factor always. I mean, take all the media attention out of it. I mean, coming in as the face of the brand, I mean, if you're an opponent and you're taking away all of these things, you're going to go after her because she's the best player on the other team. You're going to try and find a way to get in her head, to knock her off of her game, and you're going to be gunning for her. I mean, that's just kind of sports 101 in football. We always try to hit their best players extra hard to slow them down a little bit. You know, not saying we would always try to make that a dirty hit. That was never a goal in my career. However, I would say in Caitlin Clark's career, we are seeing some dirty hits, some hits that are over the top. And, that's something that the league's going to have to keep an eye on because they cannot afford to lose her. That would be disastrous for her. Plus, on her teammate side, I've been saying this from day one. If you're a teammate of Caitlin Clark, man, you're going to need an enforcer assigned to her all game like this is hockey. You need to go out there and get Fulton Reed or Dean Portman from the Mighty Ducks movies to go play backup here. But that is what it is. I mean, as far as the extra attention, there's going to be people gunning for her over that. And, I think it's got to be safe to say that people are putting an extra emphasis on trying to take her out at this point.
Yeah, Mojo, I think that's a great point. They do need to. The Fever players, her teammates, need to step up and say, this is not going to happen. If you put a finger on Caitlin Clark, then we're going to put a hand on you. And they really need to, I think, they've got to have her back, and so far, I have not seen that from the team. I also think that this is something the WNBA needs to get under control. They have been hesitant to talk about this topic. I've tried to talk to them about this. We've worked on stories that are adjacent to this one, and they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. This is the most popular, this is the most talked about that the WNBA has ever been in their history. But people are not talking about the basketball right now. They're talking about black and white and whether or not she's being targeted because she's white, or if the other women are not as popular because they're black. I mean, there are things being discussed here that go well beyond basketball. That's not what the WNBA wants, and they've got to find a way, in my opinion, to get this whole conversation under control. Like father, like son. Bill Goldberg's 19-year-old son does something very special to honor his father's Hall of Fame wrestling legacy. Stay with us.
On the TMZ Celebrity Tour, we've seen huge stars like Kevin Hart, Rihanna, Ben Affleck, The Rock, Mark Wahlberg, Lizzo, Lady Gaga, Ryan Seacrest, and Jamie Foxx. Buses depart daily from the Hard Rock Cafe in Hollywood, so head to TMZTour.com and book your tickets for the TMZ Celebrity Tour.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports, Mike and Mojo. Mojo, as you know very well, Mojo, Bill Goldberg, WWE legend. Well, obviously, look, there we go. Mojo. Look at Mojo making Goldberg look small. Get your weight up, Goldberg. Mojo, as you know, a little hard to see there. There it is. That tribal tattoo on Goldberg's left upper arm, Mojo, is absolutely iconic. It's his only tattoo, first of all. And when you think of Goldberg and you think of him wrestling and inside that ring, it's like impossible to imagine this guy without that on his arm. Something pretty cool, Mojo. His 19-year-old son, Gage, who is an athlete himself. You notice anything, Mojo? They don't look exactly alike. A little bit more hair up top there for Gage, but he does have the same exact tattoo, Mojo. This was really cool. Gage actually went. This was his idea. He goes and he gets the tattoo done just like Dad, and now like father, like son, Mojo. Pretty cool look.
However, Babcock, it looks a little smaller. I don't know if
it is.
He just got like the mini version because he's the mini version, or I don't know if Bill Goldberg got that tattoo exactly the way Gage got it, and then he got huge in football and wrestling and just it stretched the tattoo out and maybe warped it into something cool. I don't know, Babcock, but that's the question that I have from this thing.
Well, you know what, Mojo? Tomorrow, we are going to be joined by the man himself, Bill Goldberg. We'll be on the show. We can ask him all of these questions about the tattoo. Pretty cool backstory behind that. I really like that. Cool thing to see. All right, for today, Lo Mojo, we are out of time until we talk to Goldberg tomorrow. We got a bunch to talk about tomorrow, Mojo. It's going to be a great show.
That's right, Babcock. It'll be the best show since today.
I'm a lawyer.